station.
One night, one stage, one epic band. My Chemical Romance at Target Field, August 24th. Grab your tickets before they're gone. Get all the details at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Let heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Believe her king. A couple of 13-14 pass, a little Dylan duet there for you. I'm Comedies Tend to Be. The legendary Mark Rosen is here as well.
Good afternoon.
You okay?
I'm fine.
All right.
Had a scary morning.
What happened?
Well, I was about to take my sweet little Willow to get her nails done because I can't clip her nails. Clipped.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like...
Not a manicure.
Oh, I thought
No,
you
they have to get clipped because I never, declawed her, which is kind of, they tell you now it's kind of mean to do that. It's not good for the cat, but she's also good at scratching.
Don't you have a nail clipper you could use?
No, she won't let me do it. So the vet's like 5 minutes away.
Can't you get some ether and put her out?
He almost had to put me out.
What happened?
So she's pretty wise and wily. So I put the carrier in our second bedroom, the bathroom in the second bedroom. And
she knew what was coming.
And not immediately, but she had that look in her eye. And when I started moving towards her, normally I pick her up with a towel and put her right in there, but I didn't this time. And she squirmed out of my arms.
You cover her up with a towel so she can't see it? Like you throw a tarp over her?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. It's then put her with the towel, you put her in the carrier.
That's worse than declawing something.
Well, no, it's not at all. It's very comfortable for her. She's got a cushy little... Anyway, the bottom line is she scurried out of my arms, and I was right by the bathroom door, the entrance, and she ran in between my feet, and it was like a tripping call. She tripped me up. So I'm falling backwards, and I can't do anything about it.
You can't brace yourself.
No, I cracked my head on the end table.
No.
And it looked like a crime scene. I thought, oh, great. I mean, I got up and put my hand on the back of my head. It hurt like hell. And I got blood in my hand.
Did you go to the blue tent?
I did not. I got scared. I thought I was going to have to call 911.
Should you even be on the air? Are they allowing you in? Did they say you can go on the air today, or should you be?
I don't know. I mean, so far, so good. I would have had, I think I would have had concussion-type symptoms. I'm still day-to-day, as they say. So anyway.
So the cat didn't get your tongue. He got your feet.
He got my feet.
You tripped over your cat.
15 yards for tripping on Willow. And I hit that table. I thought I put a dent in it. And it was just like I said, it's like, I took a towel and, I'm taking a blood thinner too. So I was like, this is not good. So, it's like I could bleed out here and then I'll miss your show.
You've been taking skin thinner too for a long time.
Skin thinner?
Well, you've got thin skin.
That's pretty funny.
Thank you. I thought that was
working.
I was trying. I'm doing the best I can.
I know. Anyway, Willow's texting me already.
Well, let me ask you.
So I covered it up and I thought, it stopped bleeding, and I went about my business, had to run a bunch of errands.
Did you call Sheldon?
I did. And he just said, unless you, if you feel faint or nauseous or whatever.
You could have called me and I would have told you the same thing.
I know that.
I would have charged you more, though.
So actually, truth be told, the security guard downstairs kind of took, and I can't see it.
Right.
I have no idea, other than the fact that I laid down for a little bit on a towel and there's blood on that. So I thought, this isn't good.
Where's Karn at work at this point?
She's at work, yeah.
Did you call her and tell her?
Of course I called her, told her. She was going to come home. I said, don't come home. There's nothing you can do. I ran a bunch of errands. I had to run to Goodwill and grocery shopping for tonight. That's what I do.
In the movie First Blood, Sylvester Stallone sewed himself up. Did you think you might have to find a needle and thread?
Well, I couldn't reach back that far.
That's true.
So got some rubbing alcohol and put a little Robitussin on it.
Right.
And it's okay. Put a little bandage on it, and I think I'm good to go. But it's
do you remember the episode of The Twilight Zone with Telly Savalas where the doll tripped him down the stairs?
Oh, God, yes.
Do you think Willow was trying to kill you? for all the times you put her in that carrier and they'd throw a towel on her, she thought, this is my chance to get
She's treated like a queen. I mean, she gets her treats. She gets a great place to hang out. She's got another cat to hang out with. She's got a pretty good life.
Sounds like it.
Sleeps like 9 hours, 12 hours a day or whatever. It's not a bad life for a cat. But yeah, that was not fun because she was not having any of it. So, it was, and unfortunately, like I said, it looked like for a second there, I thought, oh boy.
Well, you're a tough guy. You're here, and a lot of people.
I know. I
appreciate
don't have
you showing up.
Yeah, I appreciate being here. So our security guard downstairs helped me take care of some things. So I couldn't see it. I didn't know if it was still bleeding or. Well, I'm okay.
Well, you look good.
Well, that's all that matters.
You look better at 74 than you do at 44.
Yeah. Not quite the same, but Where
should we start? Well, let's go ahead and start with really the biggest story of the weekend was the Wild trade.
Oh, my.
They trade the equivalent of 4 first-round picks.
Right.
Really, they Martini and Rossi on the rocks, Ogren in Buyam, as well as a unprotected first-round pick, I think, next year for the North. He won the North last year as the best defenseman in the National Hockey League. The Dylan Hughes,
Quinn. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know what I'm trying. What is it, Dylan? Is there somebody named Dylan Hughes? Isn't that a writer? No,
I don't know. I don't know.
By the way, Hughes won it 2 years ago. Just
was it 2 years
Cale
ago?
McCarr won it last year.
Oh.
He was runner-up, I think.
Now I'm wondering why we traded for him.
Yeah, he's overrated now.
Well, he's
downhill.
He's on the downside of his career.
Yeah.
It's a blockbuster for sure. A 4-for-1. Your thoughts on the trade?
Well, it's, and I think we've heard from Bill Guerin quite a bit on the whole situation, how it went down, and the Canucks knew they weren't going to be able to keep him and not keep him, and there are obviously lots of other teams that were probably in the mix. It's gutsy. It's wonderful to see a Minnesota sports team take a bold move like this, because they gave up good players, and in particular, I think it's Boyum, who's got the potential to be a top defenseman in this league for years to come. But you got to risk. Sometimes you got to give up some good players to get a player like this in return.
You sure do.
And there's no doubt that what he represents, and of course the caveat is, and Guerin is kind of like, I'm not saying poo-pooed it, but and you heard Hughes after the game the other night saying, I appreciate the fact that Bill Guerin gave up what he did to get me. And I've taken stock of that. In other words, will he be able to sign the extension here and stay here for 7-8 years and be a part of the Kaprizov era and Matt Boldy era?
The Brock Faber era.
Correct. And it's
the Wall and St. Paul era.
If you want to play with the big boys, with Colorado in particular and Dallas to a certain extent, you have to make a move like this. I mean, and I think it came out of left field for a lot of people. The insiders. I mean, the Michael Russos, who was as plugged in as anybody in hockey. There were no, did you hear the rumor mill? Blah, 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 blah. These things usually come together in a hurry, and they've been talking for a little while. But I mean, I watched as much as I could the other night, and it's not like, okay, this guy's going to be Bobby Orr the first game. And, you can see he's got, terrific skills, especially, on the power play, getting the puck out of the zone. And I think it's going to be a little bit, and Faber and those guys have talked about it. You got to, not play Washington tonight. But it's all about next spring and what this guy is going to contribute in the postseason. When you have 2 A-plus teams like Colorado and Dallas, you're going to have to compete against. And one of those 3, it's like a very expensive game of musical chairs. One of those 3 will be out after the first round because of the playoff format. So, yeah, I think it's a standing ovation. I mean, it's the type of thing where you go, yeah, you got to make a move like this. And it's certainly given a jolt to the fan base and, to I think everybody probably on that bench and, to say, look, we're interested in winning now. And I think that's, Bill Guerin's competitive, soul, is certainly alive and well. So, yeah, I mean, time will tell, but at the same time, it's not often you get a chance to land a player in the prime of his career, not even reaching maybe the prime of his career, 26, to get on your hockey team and keep him away from I guarantee you the discussions in Colorado and Dallas in particular are probably like, oh, okay, they raised the bar a little bit more here. So
the next question is, have you ever seen Quinn Hughes play?
No.
I not either.
I mean, listen, you play for Vancouver,
You don't get much TV time.
No, you're not getting a lot. It's not like watching. I mean, that's the problem with. I mean, unless you're watching NHL Network and late night. I mean, Vancouver plays most of the games.
They're on the East Coast over there by New York, so they're playing those early games.
Yeah, correct.
He also was injured during the that NHL Frozen, that 4 teams, whatever they called that thing last year. So he didn't get to play for Team USA last year.
Yeah,
but he'll play for them in the Olympics.
He certainly will. Garrett's the GM of that.
This text messenger says, glad to hear Rosie's okay. When he first started telling the story, I thought it might be a bee sting.
Oh, no, this was worse.
But glad to hear he only cracked his head. So,
yeah, just cracked my head.
We'll
not much left in there.
We'll pause. We'll come back. We got more to get to, including NBA Cup. Tonight, it's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one.
And then some Vikings and Gophers and Distat Lat here on the Common Man program on The Fan.
Fans, the IIHF World Junior Championship is set to take over the state of hockey, and we've got your tickets to the action all week long. Use the TalkBack feature in the iHeartRadio app right now to tell us your favorite Team USA memory from the World Juniors for your shot at a pair of tickets to a Group A game. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword contest.
A couple 13-14 pass, Common Man program on Common. He is... tend to be Mark Rosen here as well. Really violent weekend. Hate to put a damper on things, but Australia, Providence, Rhode Island, and then yesterday or 2 days ago in California, where Rob Reiner, who you and I first knew, and many of the listeners probably have, but we have a lot of youngsters that don't know that he rose to fame as playing Michael Stivic, also known as Meathead, in the legendary All in the Family series, situation comedy. And then his son is allegedly the
a lot of mental
the perpetrator.
Issues.
Yeah, and he's Rob Reiner and his wife are both dead, and their youngest son Nick is accused of the murder.
Yeah, it's sent ripples throughout every aspect, not just the Hollywood community or people just who you and I were talking about growing up, kind of watching him perform, first of all, as on All the Family. And I saw a clip of the last scene. You know, Archie and Carol O'Connor, who was a wonderful actor and played Archie Bunker like no one's business. I mean, and they butted heads all the time on every issue that imaginable, which is pretty common today. But back then it was not commonplace to have a primetime show go into all those topics. Mm-hmm. And at the end, when Michael had to say goodbye to Arch, and they were moving to California with Gloria and the kid, and it was because Archie, I think, like a lot of parents of that era, like we've talked about, my dad was an emotional guy, and I don't know how your dad was, but they're not one to open a vein, as they say, and hug it out and do all that thing, but they had an exchange that it gives you goosebumps when you watch it, because when Meathead, as they say, looked at Archie and said, "You've been like a father to me." And Carol O'Connor doesn't really know how to react, and he basically says, "Just take care of my little girl and my grandson." It just gives you chills. It was such a well done series. And then, of course, Reiner went on to,
director, and Harry Met Sally, Spinal Tap.
Yeah, A Few Good Men.
I mean, the list goes on
and on. But I mean, he had a clip, and I think for a lot of people, when Harry Met Sally, one of their favorite early rom-coms that they had with Billy Crystal, who was a dear friend, and Meg Ryan, and Rob Reiner had a comment about how he rewrote the end of the movie because during the filming of the movie, that's when he met his wife. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And at the end of the movie, the original ending had the two of them like splitting, going apart. And
going their separate ways.
And he said, I changed the ending because I fell in love with my soon-to-be my wife. And then Billy Crystal had that great little speech at the end on New Year's Eve with Meg Ryan. And, it was a happy ending and everything else. But there are so many other aspects of his impact on Hollywood and his just genuine sort of feel about people that meant the world to him. So I just saw that another MIT professor was shot and killed just a short time ago. I don't even know where it was. East Coast sometime. Yeah, it's just every single bleeping day is something. And again, a targeted individual. And this one was a little different. And the gruesomeness of it, using a knife as a weapon. I mean, the young man was at Conan O'Brien's house.
They've been at a party, and his dad and Reiner and his son had words. I also thought I read Reiner was talking to a comedian. Nick went over there. Nick's his son.
Yes,
and the comedian said this is a private conversation. He had this stunned look on his face, and he'd been the kid had substance abuse issues for a long time. He'd been in and out of rehab, right. He'd been in and out of rehab facilities.
Right.
They ended up making a movie about it. What I also read today is Reiner wanted a certain line in that movie, and it had to be in there. And they talking about how. And apparently Nick didn't really, is what the speculation is, and whether we'll ever find out or not, is that he didn't like the way that line was in it because he didn't feel that's the way it really went.
Okay.
In other words, that line was to make Rob Reiner feel better about himself or about what happened rather than, and then, so there was words and, and apparently, he had substance abuse issues and other issues as well. He'd been homeless for a long time, and if you even look at some of the pictures they show of the family, he's always staring off into space, and it's like
he had that look.
Yeah, there were some real troubles there.
And apparently, it was a kind of I wasn't saying it was a cocktail event, but people were dressed nicely on that Saturday night, and he showed up with the hoodie, looking like
which is okay. The hoodie can be a good look, but
again, the violent nature of we heard so much when the OJ thing went down, and a knife is such a invasive, violent, and imagine it's your parents. Yeah. And anyway, it's just something you can't even imagine in your worst nightmare.
Yeah, just awful.
So
there you go.
So
Rob Reiner.
Yes.
And All the Family, I watched a couple of episodes last night.
Did you really?
Well, I do with musicians all the time. If a musician passes away, usually for natural causes, and so I'll go listen to a few of his songs I want to remember about. And so I did watch a couple of episodes of All in the Family last night. And
I hope
that's as good for those that have never watched the show, and maybe sometimes the ones that mean the most to us, we think are better than other things that have come after it or before it. I find it hard to find an ensemble of the original four. I mean, they brought other people into it. They had Maude,
Jeffersons,
the Jeffersons. These were all spin-offs that happened. Characters that were introduced into the show as neighbors, or in B. Arthur's case, her character Maude. It was I think Ruth Stapleton's sister. In the show, but that ensemble cast of O'Connor, Gene Stapleton, Rob Reiner, and Sally Struthers was so good. I mean, it was just
Norman Lear was the creator, and it was kind of must-see TV on a Saturday night. That's when it was on. They don't associate Saturday nights with top viewing audiences. Sunday nights are always the number one prime time, and and for those too young to know, I mean, Rob Reiner's father, Carl Reiner, was great writers, comedians, actors, and he and Mel Brooks were together forever and ever. And he just passed away a few years ago. And I'm saying, thank God he did when he did, because this would have been, I can't even imagine. But I think he was in his late 90s when he passed away.
2020, I think. It wasn't that long ago.
No, it was not.
Not even been even.
And you think about Carl Reiner and his association with Dick Van Dyke, who just turned 100, and he was my kind of TV idol growing up. I never missed a Dick Van Dyke show, but I mean, that was the association, and Dick Van Dyke is still kicking it at 100, so good for him. But yeah, it was a bad weekend. He looks better at 100.
At 100 than he did at 50.
Well, I like listening to his life lessons. I do have a great admiration for him, and I'm glad he's lived a very, very long and fruitful life, and he was always one of my favorites.
You doubted this McCarthy kid, and now look at him now. So let's do this.
I'm the one.
Let's take a break. Okay. We'll come back and we'll talk about the Vikings.
Sure.
They're on a 2-game winning streak.
How about that?
Wish they would have started about 7 or 8 weeks earlier, but that's okay. So we'll talk about that and a couple of other items as well with Mark Rosen, along with Common Antenna B, right here on the Fan.
KFAN welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra for 2 amazing shows at Target Center on December 28th at 3 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Tickets are on sale now. Get complete show details, including a link to buy tickets at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
A couple 13-14 past, I'm common. He's a 10 to be. No, wait. He's not common. Did I say he's common?
I don't know.
He's 10 to be. I'm common. You're Mark Rosen. 10 to be. A couple of people have said, now, wait a minute. Because you had said, and you're not the first person to say this, in sort of giving an overall review of Quinn Hughes' game, it's like, well, he's not really he's not a stalwart defensive player. And then someone said, well, I thought they called him the best defensive player in the league, so defenseman in the league. How do we make those two work?
Those evaluations?
Or is he just the best offensive defensive player?
Yeah, I mean, him and Cale Makar are basically neck and neck for best offensive defenseman.
Right.
Cale's just better defensively than Quinn is. But like I said, just stop calling him a defenseman. Just call him a fourth forward. Just call him a rover on the ice. Like he is not going to be positioned in your typical spots that a defenseman's going to be positioned in because he's going to be all over the place.
Then another person writes on the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. Hold on, I had it here and I skipped past it. It says, I thought everyone told me you don't get anything for future free agents that aren't going to sign a new deal. That was the refrain when Kaprizov's signing was up in the air. And I think there are other factors, including if he doesn't have a no trade clause, well, then you can trade him. You know, what it is that he's under contract through next year, correct? So
this year and next year. Right,
this year and next year.
But you're going to make a decision on him this coming off season.
So that's where it's like if he's not going to re-sign, if he lets you know he's not going to he doesn't re-sign with you, you make him a deal and he goes, no, I'm going to go to the free agent market. Well, then you can go ahead and trade him then.
Yes.
What you can do.
Correct.
And that's what you would do. Now, you might not get as much for him because other teams do know they could wait until the free agent market rolls around.
At that point, if you get to the summer and he says, I don't want to re-sign here, Quinn is dictating where he wants to go at that point.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so it's not like you're going to have, all right, let's open for business. The other, eliminate Vancouver. The other 30 teams in the National Hockey League make your best offer. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen. And no one's going to give up a landslide for him unless they know they're re-signing him to an extension. So he is going to kind of dictate where he wants to go at that point.
So it can be a little bit
so the offer won't be as good as what the Wild just had to give up.
Correct. Vikings win their second in a row.
Right.
After a nice effort against a Washington team that had come into the game having lost 8 in a row, giving up a league worst 7.8 yards per pass attempt. Vikings play really well on both sides of the ball. Probably McCarthy's best game. It was a lot of tight end throws, a lot of throws underneath, but he played well. Then opened it up a little bit more against Dallas, another terrible defensive team, and the Vikings win there. But McCarthy looks pretty good in that game. So meaningless games as far as wins and losses go, and maybe they'll move up a couple of slots. Like right now, if the season were ended today, maybe they have the 8th pick overall or 10th pick overall. If they win a couple more games, they may go to 12 or 13. That's the only thing it will affect. And so the games don't mean anything, but he's getting his reps.
I sure meant something to Dallas the other night. They've been very good at home and playing well. They were highly motivated to keep their neck above water here.
Right, but there's a reason they're highly motivated in the situation because they're not any good.
They're not great.
They're a slightly above average team and terrible defensively.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful offense.
Yeah, and they knew that going in. And yet the beginning of the game, I kept, I've said it 1,000 times on the air and everywhere else, thinking, just don't embarrass yourself on national television. I'm talking about the Vikings. We've watched them get blown out in nationally televised primetime games, and what happens? The first pass, ball gets tipped till the Cowboys end up with it, and they go in and score, and you're thinking, oh, you've got to be kidding me. But McCarthy rallied, threw a nice touchdown pass to Jalen Naylor, and they were kind of off and running, and it was back and forth, and it was certainly a very competitive game at halftime, and the Vikings weren't running the ball much at all. I mean, Jones and Mason had a couple of nice runs, but that was about it. 34 and 29 yards, pretty modest numbers. But the defense got in Dak Prescott's face enough. They were able to run the ball, but Eric Wilson, who's just had a tremendous season, was.
You like him, don't you?
Well, how could you not? I mean, KOC, like, he's bounced around and done a lot of things, but he was terrific, and they put enough pressure on Prescott when it mattered. And our guy outkicked their number one kicker in the NFL, and that helped as well. So, it was nice to have a win on primetime to play that well. They got a couple other, the Giants, notwithstanding the Giants game this week, and I don't expect the Giants to roll over. I mean, I think they'll be competitive enough. I think that the Vikings are right now with 2.5 3-point favorites or something like that, but. They got a couple of games that to finish the season here at home, Christmas Day against the Lions, and God knows what the Lions situation is going to be at that point, but probably still be in it. And then, of course, likely on January 4th, unless they move the game to Saturday, the Packers, who will be in it. And those games will be real tests for McCarthy to kind of going into the offseason and the entire team to kind of just sort of, let's see where we are. And they got the 2 home games. It's nice to have that to look forward to and see where this team is. And I think everyone is hopeful that McCarthy and the other JJ will start connecting, because it's getting, it's two catches for 22 yards, and he's throwing, as someone said, you don't have to throw a Sandy Koufax fastball every time you throw the ball like that. And JJ's also had opportunities to catch the ball.
Koufax was more of a curveball guy.
Yeah, but he had a pretty good fastball too.
Yeah.
Okay, Nolan Ryan.
Hey, there you go.
Better example. Yeah. But I mean, it's also JJ's had a couple. It just doesn't seem that they're just not in sync sometimes with the pace of the ball and what's going on. But we've seen JJ come up with catches that in positions where the ball has been put, and he just hasn't made those with him. And you anticipate to just keep moving the needle a little bit every time, and that's really what we've seen. A lot more composure out of him, making better decisions, not airmailing every pass. So this is the incremental improvement that you want to see in the month of December, because no matter what happens, I mean, McCarthy's going to be the number one quarterback going into next season, and they'll likely bring in another, pull that name out of a hat, a veteran that will be.
I'd sign Phil Rivers.
Well, he might be available. How about that performance, though? I mean, I thought that it was phenomenal to watch. I thought, oh my God, this guy got to survive. And then I hear him say, I like getting hit. I used to tell my wife that all the time. I like getting that first hit. I mean, he almost pulled that game out at Seattle. I mean, he hadn't picked up a football in how long?
It goes to show you how simple the game really is.
Well, it can be. I mean, you think
all the people that play the game want to talk about how hard it is to be quarterback and all that. He just went in there, hadn't played in 5 years, was winging around. Now, he wasn't going downfield that often, but still,
doesn't matter.
He was fun. I watched the whole
Did you watch some?
Oh,
yeah, I didn't get a chance to see it. You got the ticket or whatever. Huh?
I've got everything. I got 2 TVs. I got the ticket. So we were watching, the early game was Chicago, Cleveland. We were able to get out of that by the second half. Well, early was a game.
Right.
So we watched Cleveland, Chicago, and then we watched, it was, who else was on at noon? It was the Colts game with,
You're right.
With, who were they playing again?
They played Seattle.
Seattle, and then there was another noon game that we were watching as well.
I think the Colts game was 3 o'clock.
It was a 3. Yeah,
there's a bunch of good 3 o'clock games.
So at 3 o'clock we were watching
the Detroit game.
We watched Detroit
and Green Bay, Denver.
We were watching Green Bay, Denver. We were watching Detroit against the Rams. We were watching Seattle against the Colts. The early games were Bears, Browns, and there was
the other one.
New England in Buffalo.
Yeah, that was an entertaining game.
Well, that game, that goes to show you why. Everybody's always speculating about, who will be the MVP this year. And there's a lot of worthy candidates, but after you watch the way Josh Allen played again, especially in that second half, you can see why is Stafford. It's always a quarterback. It's always going to be, right? It's rarely any other position, right? It's almost always a quarterback. Right now, it's got to be between Stafford and Allen. There might be 1 or 2 I'm missing. I don't know. Maybe McCarthy. But other than that,
Jordan Love was in the mix.
Yeah, he was in the mix. But I don't know. What I'm curious to see is I want the Vikings, in just one game will not a career make or be a real tell, but I want to see McCarthy play against a Green Bay team that still has something at stake in the last game of the season. Because by the time Green Bay gets to that game, depending upon what happens, and I certainly haven't looked, and I can never understand the playoff, possibilities of what has to happen. But if Green Bay's if they can make no movement either way for a seeding, right? Let's say they're locked in at a 4 seed. Well, win or lose. Well, Jordan Love ain't playing the whole game. They're not. They're not going to take a chance on having another Micah Parsons thing. So then again, it's not McCarthy's or the Vikings' fault, but they'll be playing a number of backups in that game. Detroit defensively is awful. McCarthy should have a nice game there. The Giants game could be interesting because they're both kind of in the same boat. I think the Giants aren't as good as the Vikings, but I mean, they're going nowhere. They're breaking into young kids. So that could be a game where
quarterback could be fun to watch.
Yeah, so that should be a game in which the Giants will throw a lot. Whatever they have, they'll throw at McCarthy. The Lions game is... I know I keep getting down on the kiddies.
You really are.
Well, their defense is terrible. We saw it again. And Campbell got out-coached again. It's not just that. They can't rush the passer. They put no pressure on the passer at all. And what happened is the Rams stole a field goal late in the first half with, a minute to go, and they marched down to get a field goal, and then they get the ball in the third quarter, and they just carved the lines up, and they were... whatever adjustments are made at the half, McVay just completely outcoached Campbell. In other words, while Detroit is sitting on the front porch, the Rams were in the house ransacking and going out the back door. Yeah. It's just like...
Well,
Thanks. That's a good line, isn't it, Tim?
That's a very good line. For football fans, even before Sunday, we're all waiting for Sunday night. We're all waiting for Sunday. You got, really good games. Starting Thursday night, the Rams are at Seattle. That, 11-3 teams teeing it up on Thursday night after that. I barely even watched any of that game last night. It was awful. But then keep in mind, because Saturday games now are happening. Philadelphia's playing at Washington. That, in theory, shouldn't be close. But you got the Packers and the Bears at Soldier Field.
That's a hell of a game
on Saturday night. So it's a good weekend of football before everything kicks off. And then your kiddies are hosting Aaron Rodgers on Sunday afternoon at 3:30.
It's a must-win for Detroit.
That kind of is.
Well, Detroit's the path of least resistance. If I understand it correctly, they got to win all 3 games. All winnable, home to Pittsburgh, at Minnesota, though I think that's the toughest one. I'm telling you,
could be.
Because the Vikings defense always seems to create issues for Detroit. Mm-hmm. And their defense is so bad. But anyway, what they need is 3 wins, 2 Bears losses. And they control one of those Bears losses because they played the Bears in the last game of the season. Chicago's other 2 games are the aforementioned Green Bay game, and they play San Francisco. So those are 3. I mean,
the schedule makers knew what they're doing.
That's a tough schedule for Chicago. So
it is.
But I just think Detroit is, I think they're done so. So I think and then I don't think there's anybody else close enough after Detroit. Detroit's right now the 8th seed. Is Dallas at 9 at 6-7-1 or whatever?
Dallas is 6-7-1.
Yeah, so I think they're done. So I think the teams that are in the playoff picture right now are pretty much the teams.
And they're going to have a situation again. We talked about it before, even last year with the Vikings' gaudy record that they had to go on the road with that record they had after losing to Detroit they had for the number 1 seed. We all recall that game. But you got a situation with Tampa Bay and Carolina, pretty similar, that one of those teams, they're both 7-7. They play each other in Carolina this week. One of those teams will have a home game, playoff game, despite not having as good a record as one of the wild card teams will probably end up facing. But theirs are the rules, and that's just it. And Tampa Bay's been not looking great lately. And, you think about Carolina. Really? So you're going to have a couple surprise teams.
Yeah, Dallas is technically 10th because Carolina is a half game ahead of them.
Okay.
Right.
And what's Carolina's record?
They're 7-7.
7-7, yeah.
I don't think any of those teams, I mean, it depends if there's collapses up in front of them, but I kind of think the teams that are in the first 7 slots now are probably the teams that are going to make it in the NFC. We don't know that for sure, obviously. But
NFC North, the NFC West, I mean, you think of the Rams, the Seahawks, and the 49ers are all tough outs, for postseason. And
well, they've been saying, everybody's been wanting to say for a long time that the NFC North is the best division in football. It's the West, and it's the NFC West. I think, at one time it looked like earlier in the year it was the NFC North. 3 of the teams were in really good shape: Green Bay, Chicago, Detroit. But now,
Yeah, the Bears could win the division, or they could be out. I mean, it's still that much at stake with everything going on, and I'm sure the Packer rivalry and going into Chicago on Saturday night, it'll be quite the atmosphere at Soldier Field with the Packer fans there. I mean, that would be a fun game to go to, and that'll be.
You're getting ripped
for what?
So Rosen went into Sunday night hoping the Vikings don't embarrass themselves on national TV.
Yeah,
wow,
I did.
What lofty expectations.
Well,
when are you going to start holding the local teams to a higher standard like Common does? I bet Rosen has higher expectations for the chef preparing his swordfish and the masseuse is giving him a massage.
I wish I had a masseuse right now. Larry Mondello guy.
How did you know?
Shocking, because what time is it? 2:49, and he's sitting around fiddling around in his basement.
Do you think the Vikings have found their franchise quarterback?
I don't know. I hope they have. I mean, it's interesting. And I remember having this conversation. Chris Carter has been outspoken still about he's a kid. He's acting like a kid. He's talking about J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
Well, let's remember he's an Ohio State guy. He doesn't like anybody from Michigan.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
He's what that team from the north, whatever.
Right.
I mean,
that
know
school
that.
Up north.
That school up north. So when I was sitting in the press box, I don't know, weeks ago, and Carter came up and tapped me on the shoulder. He was there. He goes, he didn't have to do it. He started rattling off all these. This was JJ wasn't playing well at all.
Right.
And he didn't have to do anything in
Isn't
Michigan, handed the ball off, and he threw, short little passes. And I said, and I just kind of smiled. I said, well, Chris, he's just, he's a kid.
Is he 20 still, or is he 21?
He's
22, whatever.
But he was even on a show, I don't know, Kay Adams or something, he was talking about it again. And, because I think they were asking him about the little gritty thing he did. You guys talked about it earlier. But it's like, Chris, let's just admit you're an Ohio State guy. If this kid was Ohio State quarterback, you'd be saying, let's pump the brakes a little bit. He's just still in his first year after not being able to practice last year. The jury's out. I don't know. I hope he is the answer. Because I don't, we don't want to go through this too many more times.
No, I hope he is. Too.
I hope he is.
I feel better about him now than I did even a couple of weeks ago. I don't, sometimes you just go with a gut feeling and you watch the kid play and you see the mechanics and everything else and you start thinking the odds are generally speaking greater that he's not going to be a franchise because we've seen it over the years. How many guys have been drafted in the first round that have never panned out and how many have turned into franchise quarterbacks? Yeah. There have been many franchise quarterbacks, but there's been more guys that never made it. So, but yeah, he looks better. We'll see. Again, we'll see. I believe they still believe the mechanics have to be corrected, and I think that's it can be done. It's just like it is. It's like in anything. 10 to be, and I always like to compare it to the golf swing.
Yeah, it is.
You can fix things in your golf swing if you work at it. You can stop doing certain things, and same thing as a quarterback. But yeah, I mean for the organization's sake and the fans and everybody, you hope he's the guy, and it was encouraging the last couple of weeks.
Well, we'll see how it and that's goes. Why it's very worthwhile. Not even withstanding the game on Sunday against the Giants, but finishing up against the Lions and the Packers at home. That'll be a good test for him to kind of go in the offseason.
Well, like I say, especially the Green Bay game, if Green Bay has got something at stake, because Green Bay is really good on both sides of the field. Even without Micah Parsons, they're really good. So that'll be a true test against a team that would be wanting to get from the third seed to the second, or maybe win the division. I don't know. Maybe even get. I don't think get to the number one seed. I don't even know if they have that possibility now because I don't think the Rams are going to falter. But that Green Bay game could end up being a real test for him and the rest of the club, in particular for him. Yeah.
Exactly. And they get to see Snoop Dogg at halftime, so there's that.
Oh, Snoop Dogg.
For shizzle.
He's the halftime.
Halftime. Netflix is handling it. It is on WCCO as well. So if you don't have, it's the home market is allowed to televise it on a local station. So
the last few years,
they run Netflix runs the halftime show.
The last few years, it's sort of been a renaissance for Snoop Dogg, right? Because he's been in the last 4 or 5 years, he's been in more commercials and more,
the Olympics,
and doing this and doing that, and
I'm sure
he's Snoop Dogg.
I say most of his renaissance has been like away from music.
Yeah. We call him Snoop Dogg, is what we call him.
Yeah, well, it'll be entertaining. People will be sitting in their stands.
I wish I was there now.
Yeah. Can't you go?
I have to sit in this chair.
Oh, that's right.
Do you think he'll do Drop It Like It's Hot? What a hit.
Maybe. I mean, he's got so many hits to choose from.
Be a longer halftime show.
He'll do Gin and Juice. That's a guarantee.
Oh, yeah. How can you not? I can't wait to hear Gin and Juice.
You'll be there. Oh, man. Are you going to wear Lions?
No,
You can't do that.
I'm in the iHeart suite, so
I'll come visit you. All right.
I just I play pretty low key.
I'm sure you do. Deuce going, right?
Yeah, I'm taking the whole family.
So you get to see Snoop Dogg and I don't.
How about that's just unfair.
I'll take a picture of him for you.
That's not right.
I'll let you know how it goes.
I don't want a picture. I want a video.
Yeah. You'll be able to watch it on TV. Oh, we're done already? Oh, my God. That goes fast when I'm having fun.
Yeah, and you had a blast, didn't you?
I really did.
That's just your concussion from earlier today.
Yeah,
you don't have any concept of time.
Yeah,
I
that's
know.
exactly what it is.
Stars.
Yeah, if you
Thanks,
if you start to feel
woozy,
or you nauseous, go see Sheldon.
I'm going to see him anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
That's
correct?
Wednesday, yes, sir.
Teneby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
And you as well. We enjoyed our visit with you, as we always do. And we're back tomorrow, 12 noon. Who wouldn't miss it? Stick around, though. Big Ticket, JG. They're next right here on the Fan.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota.
And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.